If you have been following along, you should already be pretty clear about what loops are and how and why you would use them. To those who are directly starting at this video and don't have a clear understanding of what loops are, I suggest that you go back to video number 8 about for loops and continue from there, as in the last two videos we have talked about loops pretty extensively, and those videos will be helpful in making a good base for you. Now let's directly go to the syntax. The while loop starts with the while keyword and the two parentheses, which tells the compiler that you are writing a while loop. Next, inside the parentheses, we have the condition that will either return true or false. If it returns true, then the code block inside will be executed, and if it returns false, then the code block inside will not be executed. The for loop contains the initialization and increment decrement parts inside its loop setup, but for the while loop, initialization of the variable should be done before the loop starts, and the increment and decrement step should be done inside the loop's code block. With that done, let's move forward to the RPG analogy. Think about you having various status effects in your game that can be inflicted on the player, like in the Pokemon games where your Pokemon can get burned, paralyzed, poisoned, etc. Now, this effect will be sustained for various turns or a certain amount of in-game time, or whatever criteria that you have set. So, let's try to recreate this scenario where for a couple of turns the player will not have any status effects, then the enemy will attack and the player will be inflicted with, let's say, poisoning. And after that, the status effect will last for 2 more turns after the current turn, that is, for 3 turns in total, before reverting back to normal. That's it. Now let's dive into the code and get this done. First of all, let's initialize a boolean named underscore status effect and set it to false. Underscore status effect will be true or false based on whether the player is poisoned or not. Next, an integer named underscore poison turns and set it to 2. This variable will contain how many turns the player will be poisoned for after the current turn. Then another integer named underscore last turn and set it to 8. Underscore last turn, as its name suggests, contain data regarding how long the battle will last for. In this case, it will be 8 total turns. Next, inside the start method, we'll create 2 other integers, first named I and set it to 1, and second named underscore player affected at turn and set it to a random number between 1 and 9, with 1 being inclusive and 9 being exclusive. This variable contains data about at which turn our player will be poisoned. With that done, now let's create a while loop with the condition being I is less than or equal to underscore last turn, which means that we'll enter the while loop as long as the battle has started and will loop until the battle is finished, which in this case is the 8th turn. Now inside the while loop, the first thing that we'll do is increment I by 1. I'm doing this right away because if I forget to do it later, it will create an infinite loop. For those who don't know what an infinite loop is, it happens when the programmer does not put the correct exit statements and increment or decrement logic inside the loop, and the loop just continuously keeps on repeating itself with no way for the program to move forward. When a programmer does this, the program will freeze or crash, and in the task manager on Windows, it will be shown as not responding. You can try creating an infinite loop yourself and watch as it makes your Unity editor become not responding in the task manager. Now inside while, but above the increment statement, we will create an if condition with the condition being underscore status effect equal to false. And then below it, create an else if block where the condition is underscore status effect equal to true. So if our player is currently not poisoned, then the program will enter the if block, while if the player is currently poisoned, then the program will enter the else if block. Now inside the if block, we'll create another if condition where I is equal to 1. If this returns true, then we will debug.log battle started. After that, we'll create another if condition where I is equal to underscore player affected at turn. After that, we'll create an else if block with the condition being I equal to underscore last turn. And then we'll create an else block. Now the first if condition means that this is the random turn when the player will get poisoned. If this happens, then we'll set the underscore status effect boolean to true, marking the player has been poisoned. And then debug.log battle turn plus I plus player got poisoned. After the debug.log, we'll create an if statement where I is equal to underscore last turn. And if this is true, we'll debug.log battle ended. With that done, now inside the second condition, we'll debug.log battle turn I. And then write another debug.log saying battle ended. Next, inside the else block, we'll debug.log battle turn I. That does it for the if block where the condition is underscore status effect equal to false. Now moving forward to the else if block where the condition is underscore status effect equal to true, we'll create another if condition where underscore poison turns is greater than 0. And debug.log battle turn plus I plus player is still poisoned inside it. After that, let's decrease underscore poisoned turns by 1. And after that, create an if condition where I is equal to underscore last turn. And debug.log battle ended if this returns true. Now inside the if condition, let's create an else if block where underscore poison turns equal to 0. And then debug.log battle turn plus I plus player has recovered to show it in the console. And set the underscore status effect boolean to false, marking the player is no longer poisoned. And after that, just like above, create an if condition where I is equal to underscore last turn and debug.log battle ended if it is true. And with that done, the code is complete. Now let's go to Unity and check the logs. As you can see, the logs are showing and are also reflecting that we used random.range to randomize on which turn the player will get poisoned. Now a couple of things before wrapping this video up. First, you can create a nested while loop just like with any other loop by encapsulating a while loop inside another while loop. I've already shown how to do this in the last 2 videos, so I'm not going to do it in this video and keep this video relatively short. And second, just like you use the break keyword to exit for and for each loops, you can also do the same with while loops. Well, that does it for today's video. If you like the content, I hope that you will subscribe to the channel. Do comment below if you have any doubts or if you just want to share your thoughts. And as always, if you see someone struggling down in the comment section, do try and help them. Goodbye for now. This is your host VP signing off.